everybody. I'm really excited to do another episode of the Zoë Damacela show. I'm sorry I haven't done one in a while. I've just been super busy. I just went to New York City and I did this presentation in Times Square, so that was really awesome. And I'm preparing for my next trip right now. And I'm actually in the middle of midterms here at Northwestern, and so I just had a ton of stuff going on, but I promise I'm going to be doing these videos more frequently coming up in the future. So let's get started in our questions. Our first question is from Austin, who is from Converse, Texas, and she wants to know if I have any tips for getting started in a business, or getting a business started, I should say. I think some of the most important things are to figure out what exactly your business is. You know, there's so many different businesses that you can start, especially a lot of businesses that teenagers can start. So I would begin by kind of figuring out, are you going to be doing a product, or are you going to be doing a service-based business? So that means if you actually have a product, like if you're making clothes, or if you're doing, you have an invention, or you're selling food, or you're selling something, that's a product-based business, and so you'd be selling your actual product, versus a service-based business where you're just doing something for someone. So that could be like you're mowing someone's lawn, or you're doing someone's taxes, or you're planning somebody's party. Those types of businesses are service. So first decide if it's product or service. Then after that, decide who your market's going to be. Are you trying to sell to teenagers? Are you trying to sell to adults? Are you selling to people who have children? Are you selling to people who love music, or who love technology, or who love sports? And so that's another important step, is to figure out who you're really going to focus on and try to capture that market really well. You know, it can be really hard to try to appeal to everybody, so a good way to start is to figure out one specific group of people and just focus on working on that one group of people. And then after that, I'd say just start small. You know, I started my business when I was 14, as you guys know, just by selling to people in my high school. And so it gradually grew bigger and bigger into now I'm selling all over the world, but you know, everybody has to start somewhere, and it can be a lot more manageable for teenagers to start really small, like just in your community or just in your school, and then it'll work its way to get bigger and bigger. So definitely don't be disappointed or don't be discouraged if your business is small at first. So I hope that helps. Our next question is from Jazz, and she wants to know how to get started in the fashion industry in particular. That can be kind of tough because the fashion industry is kind of hard to get into, and there's a lot of people who want to work in fashion, but luckily there's a lot of jobs in fashion too. So I think it's kind of similar to the first question, is you have to decide what you really want to do in the fashion industry. So do you want to be a designer? Do you want to be a model? Do you want to be you know, a fashion illustrator? Do you want to be like a fashion journalist? Do you want to be a runway fashion show producer? You know, there's so many different things. But I think just to get started in the industry, it's good to kind of read up about the industry, to kind of learn about fashion. You can read a lot in fashion magazines like I Love Vogue and Harper's Bazaar and Elle, and of course 17 magazine. Or you can look on websites like Style Site or on style.com and things like that. You can read fashion blogs. You can, you know, check out books in the library on the fashion industry. And then you can kind of educate yourself on whatever part of the fashion industry that you want to be involved with. So if you want to be a designer, I would do a lot of research on designing and how to get started with design, you know, how to sew and how to, you know, meet with manufacturers and just everything that goes into design. And same for being a journalist or being a fashion show producer or being a model or anything like that. But, you know, similar to the first question, it helps to just start really small. So let's say, you know, you guys know how to kind of get started being a designer, but let's say you want to be a model. It helps to start small. So for example, you can start by offering to model for free. And so that's really helpful because designers a lot of times will need models who can work for free. And so you can do like an exchange where you get photos for your portfolio in exchange for the designer being able to use you in whatever campaign that they need you for. And so even though you're not getting paid, it can be great for people who are just starting to just at least get some photos into their portfolio. But if you want to get started like in fashion journalism or something, you can like write a blog or, you know, something like that. There's all types of ways to get involved. But I would say just do a lot of research before you get started and try to decide what part of the fashion industry you like. You know, when I first started, I was actually doing modeling when I first started a little bit, and I was trying to do like design, and I was trying to do like, I was even like writing a blog I think when I first started, so I was even trying to do a little bit of journalism. And you know, after trying everything out, I decided that I really liked design, and so that's how I kind of stayed with design. But it's fun to kind of try out a lot of different things and see whatever it is that you really like. Our next question is from Luam. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. She wants to know, how do you get people to look at your designs when you're first starting? I think that can be kind of intimidating when you're first starting as a designer. It can be tough to get people to look at your work and to let people look at your work, I think. I know when I first started, I was really, really shy about letting people see my designs and seeing my illustrations. But if you really do want to get people to see them, you can so easily post your designs on Facebook, or you can start a Tumblr, or you can tweet about your designs. You can start a blog that's all about your fashion illustrations and get a lot of strangers to look at your designs that way. But if you're kind of a little too shy to do such a, to put your designs out there so much, you can always just have your friends and family take a look at them. And they can be really helpful as far as like telling you what they like and what they don't like. But like a cautionary note, don't let people influence your designs too much. Whenever you show your designs, there's going to be people who have all kinds of things to say about them. Like, some people will like some things, and other people will like other things, and some people will hate some things, and some people will love other things. And so don't let what people say influence your designs too much. It can help if they're saying, oh, like, this would be great if you made this dress in cotton instead of, polyester, because cotton is a lot more breathable, whatever. That can be helpful. But if they're saying like, well, I don't like this, and I like this, and I don't like that, and you should change this, then it can be kind of discouraging, and also it'll really like interrupt your whole like creative process. And so don't be too influenced by people who have kind of negative things to say. So our next question is from Elizabeth. And she wants to know about fashion illustration in particular. She wants to know what kind of supplies would be best for a beginner to use in fashion illustration. I think that's like a really, that's something that you have to really decide on your own. That's like saying, like, if you're an artist, what kind of art supplies do you use to be an artist? There's so many art supplies out there, and there's so many different things that you can do. For me personally, some really important supplies that I love are watercolor pencils. Those are like my go-to art supply. I love watercolor pencils because what you do is you draw out your design in colored pencil, and then you add water to it, and it becomes a watercolor. So that's really cool. I love blending markers. Those are really great for super saturated color that you still want to blend. I love using like different materials. So just because it's fashion illustration doesn't mean that you can't use actual things in your design. So I like to like glue glitter onto it, like glue feathers and sequins, and you can put like real buttons on your designs, and that'll actually give it a really cool and really unique look. It takes a kind of a long time, and it's really time consuming, but if you have the time to actually like do it and do like a mixed media piece, that can look really cool. And you can also do your fashion illustration on the computer. There's a ton of different programs out there for doing illustration on the computer. The one that I use is called ArtRage. And I mean, it'll take a while for you to kind of learn how to use it, but you can just play around with it until you figure it out. It's basically like a box of art supplies on your computer, and then you can just, click and click and click and draw things out, and you can do like a whole illustration without having to pull out your real art supplies. So that can be super helpful as well. So I hope that I answered your questions. Always remember that you can send me your questions whenever you have them. You can post them to the Zoë Damacela Apparel Facebook page. You can post them to zoedamacela.tumblr.com. You can tweet them to me. You can email them to me. You can get a hold of me in so many different ways. And so I hope that this episode was helpful. And so remember to keep sending me in your questions, and I'll answer them here on my show. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.